Thank you. Jackson Prep cheerleaders here with us tonight at Brent's in Fondren. And we're going to talk a little volleyball right now. And, of course, we mentioned Keith. Keith also doubles as being our statistician, also handles the video streaming for the volleyball team. But our coach is here with us tonight, and we're talking about Shelby Grace Mays. Now, how long have you been doing this at Prep? First season. And you came over from Mississippi College. Really? Okay. So both MC alumni here. What do you find is the biggest challenge today for high school volleyball players? In general.
Well, the biggest challenge for me coaching them was learning what I learned playing in high school versus what I learned playing in college, and I forget when I learned what. So I think I came in expecting, them to know things, and they were just kind of looking at me like, what in the world does that mean? And I realized there was a line, that I have to stay in for high school.
And understand.
Yes,
where it is. At what point are high schools starting to get teams together and have volleyball as a sport? Is it like 7th grade or is it 9th grade? Where is it?
It depends with different schools, but at Prep they can start playing in the 6th grade. So we have a junior high team that's 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, and then we have a high school team 9th through 12th graders.
You find that there's some 6th graders out there that can play the game?
There are,
Really?
and it's a growth period where they can make a lot of improvement. And so our 6th graders definitely have made so much improvement from tryouts until now. But yeah, definitely there are some major talent in 6th graders.
So how much of your time is instructional time to teach them the game, and then how much of it is really getting out there and playing the game?
It depends. At the beginning, there was a lot of instructional time just because there are different ways, different coaches like different things, kind of like any sport. So there was some instructional time of what I wanted out of them. But now in practice, there's still instructional time when I see something that's going on, or if I notice something in the last game, I write down notes. And so there is some instructional time, but for the most part, it's just game action, game time play and stuff.
Most of the time while you're in those games, it seems like you're scribbling nonstop. What are you scribbling over there?
So honestly, I write down points and what happens at each point. So how we got the point, how
15 points per game, isn't it?
25.
25 in one game?
The game is a lot different than when you played in it. The coach rolled out the old nets.
Yes, Calvin Coolidge was present when I was playing. But anyway, 25
points a set.
And you're writing down who got the point?
Most of the time.
Or who gave up the point?
What kind of errors we made to give up a point, or what kind of plays we made to gain a point. So if somebody had a kill, had an ace, something like that, I'll write down.
Keith, when you're filming, what are you looking for? Obviously, you're going back and forth on the net, but what are you homing in on?
Just the pace of the game. If we're at home, we kind of have a steady cam. If we're on the road, we kind of go back and forth.
Right.
Just the location that we're set up. We're trying to get the girls the same experience that every other sport at Prep gets. We want to give them the top-notch, full-fledged. They're as important as the basketball teams and the softball and
Absolutely.
the soccer teams. So we want to give them the same experience, and that goes all the way down to doing the live stream now.
So I'm assuming then folks at Arab, Alabama, are zoomed in when y'all are playing and are watching to see what goes on with this team.
Yes, there are a lot of fans, newly Prep fans in Arab, Alabama.
and we're getting people watching all the way from Georgia all the way to Arkansas. So we're getting a widespread of people watching the game on the live stream.
Mike Manning talks about how international the girls softball is because Corey Caton's parents are in Canada, so I guess that qualifies it. But
we're getting there.
Did you ever? Did you ever think you'd see the day when volleyball games would be streamed on the high school level?
Honestly, I don't think we were streamed.
I don't think you were streamed to Mississippi College. It wasn't on the college.
We had live stream Mississippi College most of our home games, but it was based on the school. So sometimes we weren't on away games.
What you're talking about.
But we had live stream. It's kind of like what Mr. Keith was saying. It's like volleyball is a very new sport to Mississippi.
Yep.
In the past 10 years, very new.
Well,
and so coming from Alabama is definitely ahead of Mississippi in volleyball. And so I know, crazy.
Yeah.
But here,
figure.
and so it's like all coming and live streams getting big and volleyball. So it's good. It's
So
fun.
we were talking a couple weeks ago. In high school and in college, you got to play every position on the floor. So you've seen how every position is supposed to be played, and what everybody's supposed to be looking at for. How do you use that when you're coaching? How do you use that when you're communicating to the girls?
It helps a lot now knowing how to play each position, because when I was in high school, I would get super frustrated because my teammates would get really good at one position. And each coach, like I played a different position in club ball, in school ball, and I would get mad because I can't just get good in one position. But going to college, they move you around, and it's not like there's a bunch of good girls in college, so it's like it's wherever you can play. And so I was thankful that I could play anywhere, so it gives you more opportunity to play. And so that's what I tell them. And it's good because when they have questions, it would be hard if I only knew how to hit or if I only knew how to set.
You're out there on the court, and you've obviously got all the same uniform except for one. Now what's up with that?
So that is our libero.
Libero?
Yes, libero. She is typically your best passer. So she can stay on the back row and pass all 6 rotations. Normally you can only play back row or front row 3 rotations each, but she gets to stay on and play all 6 rotations on the back row to help your
So
team out
that's
to pass.
cheating. Then. No, but so is this? Does everyone have a libero?
For the most part, every team, especially when you get into JV and varsity levels. Now, junior high and middle school, they may not have them. We do, but you may not see them all the time. But in JV, varsity, college, everyone has liberos.
So it's kind of like your linebacker on your defense.
And where
They're the person that's got to be all over the floor. They got to be able to sacrifice for everything to get to the
Yes.
ball.
Right.
Yes.
So
I got to ask you,
Okay.
now let's talk about prep volleyball.
Okay.
I know you, at prep we strive to win championships.
Yes.
So I'm sure when you got the job that was brought up.
It was multiple times by multiple people.
All right. Where is this program in retrospect with all the other private schools that we have to play?
Okay, so right now we are 3rd in our district. JA and Hartfield are above us.
Hartfield's in.
Yeah, they have solid teams, but we're definitely competing in the district and with the teams around us. I think we have a lot of talent, and I think with our girls, when they are confident that they have talent, that's when we play well.
and statewide right now, the team is ranked 27th out of 140 schools, private schools and
Ours
public
is?
schools. Yes, so we're doing great so far. Coach Mays is starting to build a program that we can definitely be proud of and build off of.
Well, she's the pride of Arab, Alabama.
Jeez,
And-
I wouldn't
and-
go that far.
Coach, we're glad that you're here.
Thank you all for
Glad
having me.
Glad that you came over from MC and take this program. You're right. You've got good athletes at this
We
school.
do.
And you've got to develop the mindset of bringing that program into where the rest of the programs are. And it sounds like you're well on your way. We wish you well. You brought a couple of players tonight?
I did.
Okay,
They're
well-
super excited.
Good. Well, we're going to take a timeout. When we come back, we're going to talk to them so you can find out a little bit more about Lady Patriot Volleyball. And we want to thank Coach May for coming tonight.
Thank you all for having me. Thank you so much.
We'll take a timeout. More prep talk in a moment. Thank you very much. Cheerleaders here with us at Brent's in Fondren. And you'll hear them tomorrow or Friday if you make the trek down to Amite City, Louisiana. We'll be talking about that game in just a little bit. It'll be Oak Forest and Jackson Prep, and Prep looking for their second win of the season. We're talking volleyball here on the first part of the show, and we got 2 Julias with us here. I know this one pretty well, Julia Sabukas and then Julia Summerall. They're volleyball players here at Prep. And let me just ask you both the same question, and that is, did you think you would be playing volleyball when you got into high school? Is it something you thought about and said, oh, I definitely want to do that? Or did you get into school and go, no, that's not a bad idea?
I've always kind of known I wanted to play volleyball.
Really?
Well, my older sister played volleyball, so I
Christina played.
Yes.
Yeah. And so you just, follow in her footsteps there.
Yes, sir.
Julia?
Yeah, it's the opposite for me. Like, I started playing, so my younger sister plays now, but I never thought I'd be doing it.
Is it as much fun as what it looks like it is?
It really
Yes.
is. It's kind of intense, though, because, like, it's basically like don't let the ball hit the floor, like a really intense game of it.
In football, mainly, there's a lot of trash talking going on down in the trenches with the guards and the tackle. You're right across. I mean, there's a net. Can you talk to them over there?
You can.
We don't really do it,
Not
though.
really. Sometimes you get like looks, but like not much.
No,
Looks?
not really.
Looks like what?
I mean, sometimes you can tell the other players are like mad,
Yeah.
you know. But like besides that,
In the last 2 weeks, these two and everybody who's played front row has put an emphasis on blocking. And when they get in there and block those shots, you know, they get a chance to stare down the other team a little bit. It's fun to watch.
So you both have blocked shots this year?
Yes, sir.
What's that feel like?
It's like you feel like you've kind of like conquered the world. You feel like the big man on campus, kind of like a football player. You feel like the quarterback or something.
How do you practice volleyball if you're not in the gym and there's a volleyball net out? I mean, like I would practice basketball at home or I practice pitching at home. How do you practice volleyball when you're not out there?
mainly just focus and like when we do practice, like with the net, you like have to put all during that time because like you're not gonna have a net at home, so.
You know, football, most teams watch game film. Keith's doing the film of the game. Do you look at past games that you've played in?
I do.
Is that just like an individual thing?
It's an individual thing for me.
What are you
yeah.
trying to look for?
Like spots open on the court, so when we play the team again, I know where I can hit that's open. Or
You're
like,
not going to remember that. You know.
If you write it down, you can.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Is there one team in particular that you just want to beat this year more than any other team?
Hartfield.
Really?
I'd love to be at Hartfield.
Yeah.
Really? I was kind of surprised when they said that Hartfield was in this league because you don't hear much about it. I mean, they're not in our league and anything else, but they are in this, and so they're pretty competitive. Are they in the one in first place right now?
They're second.
They're second.
But they're defending state champs.
Yeah, they
Hartfield
won
is.
state champs last year.
Really? I got to ask you, Jade, has this sport helped you in basketball, or has it not mattered?
They're different sports, I guess, cause like they're not the same.
You still got to block.
Yeah. I guess you gotta block, but like I don't know.
It's two
There's
different
a-
worlds, isn't it?
yeah.
That's a totally different game.
Basketball is a lot of like you're having contact with. Volleyball is more like, but they're
Finesse.
both team sports. You
Right.
both have to work together as a team, so I think it helps.
There's an old adage about teams taking on the personality of their coaches. How has your team this year taken on Coach Mays' personality?
Well, since she's so young, she's kind of like one of us. So we like get along with her. We can talk to her about like really anything we want to, and she can relate to us on like a personal level.
Yeah, but what if she has to get on to you? I mean, you got to have that line between friend and coach.
It's when we step on the court, it's like it's time to play.
Yes.
We all know it's serious now.
Serious time.
And she's really emotional on the sideline. Like, you know, if you get a good block or, you know, when you do those dumps over the net that you've gotten famous for the last 4 or 5 games, you know, she's just like kicking her feet up in the air and just, you know, pumping and high-fiving everybody down on the bench, you know. So
It makes me excited
It does,
when she gets
yeah.
excited.
Well, I'll tell you what, when do the playoffs come up? I mean, how long does this season go?
you're halfway through now.
Mm-hmm.
Like tomorrow's the midway part of the season. So October 6th, I think, is the start of the state tournament.
Where is
Somewhere in
the
first
state
week of
Somewhere
October.
around there.
Where's the state tournament this year?
Historically,
Mississippi College,
is it
I
Mississippi
think.
College this
I
year?
think so.
It's usually at Belhaven, but it may, MC would be a good place for it this year.
Well, I would assume that winning a state championship is number one on your list on this deal.
Yes, sir, it is.
You think you can do it?
I hope so.
Yes, I think we
We
can.
totally could.
Well, we'll be pulling for you. And
Thank you.
I'm really interested about this player that wears the different jersey. That just really I can't wrap my head around that. But so everybody knows she's going to pass, though, doesn't they?
They do. So we try to avoid it, but sometimes it just goes to her.
Yeah.
And you just pray that she can't get it up or can't get there fast enough.
Yeah.
Well, girls, good luck the rest of the way. We're glad that you came out with us tonight and that you're playing volleyball. For if you had somebody at home watching, a little girl watching, what would you say to encourage her to play volleyball?
Don't give up on it. It is hard in the beginning, but like put the effort in and the work in, and you can be as good as you want to be.
and it's really fun.
It is, yeah.
So you do try to mix the fun with how difficult the sport is, don't you?
Yes, sir.
Well, I'll tell you, that's an art if you can pull it off. Glad to have Julia and Julio here with us, Summerall and Zabukas, and we'll see you later on this season on the basketball floor. Can't wait to see that. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, we've got to talk a little football. We've got a football game this week down in Amite City, Louisiana, as we're taking on Oak Forest for win number 2 if the Patriots can get it. We'll be coming back, and we'll be talking to either Jimmy Nix or Coach Thompson. One of them's coming up here. We'll talk to him as Prep Talk rolls on in a moment.